State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has declared that God has removed all obstacles against his administration. Fubara said his administration would continue to prioritize the interests of Rivers people in the governance of the state under the mantra, Rivers First. He called on all well-meaning Rivers people to continue to support and contribute their quota to making the administration achieve its vision of advancing the fortunes of the state in his government. Fubara spoke during the praise night organized by the state government to mark his first anniversary at the Obiwale International Conference Center, Port Harcourt, on Friday night. The Deputy Governor, Professor Ngozi Odo, in the same vein, has assured Governor Sim Fubara that God has taken over his battles. Odo said God would continue to fight Fubara's battle and he will end victorious. He spoke during the praise night organized by the state government to mark Fubara's first anniversary in Port Harcourt, Rivers State capital, on Friday night. Let me start with you, Mr. Zoe. What is your take on this statement by the governor that God has removed all his obstacles, and also the deputy governor in the same vein telling the governor that God has fought all his battles?
Well, I was actually in that praise night,
All right.
and it was beautiful. It was a wonderful thing. I'm happy that the governor is on the path of involving God in his act of governance of Rivers State. Rivers State actually needs God. So I agree with the governor and his deputy that God has actually, of course, you see the events that are unfolding. It can only take the grace of God and one with the backing of God to survive the last 1 year. You know, considering the ambushments, considering the political boza and all the rest that have been coming. Ambushment.
Was the governor ambushed?
Of course, we have been on this platform. We are even the other side. Yeah, of course, on several times. What happened on what will you refer to? What happened on October 1st, 2023? What else do you want to ascribe to such? They wanted to remove him from office with a process that cannot be justified in the face of the law. So, considering all these things,
in what way?
The processes, they wanted to impeach the governor.
Impeaching the governor, does it not fall under the purview of the legislature?
I'm talking about procedural. Yes, there are processes. The governor asked a question. Till today, that question have not been answered. The governor said, I am not afraid to be impeached. I am not the first person that will be impeached in Nigeria. But what you must tell Rivers people, what are my offenses?
These are the issues. Now, the Constitution, talking about ambushing the governor, and you're saying the ambush was the attempt of...
Shoma, if you allow me to take care of your question
you will
first.
take care of the question, but then you have given it wings, right? Now, when you talk about that, because I'm actually interested in that statement to ambushing the governor. You know, when you say words like that, it's only fair that you elucidate so that people will actually understand. But then when you talk about, quickly before you go on, when you talk about ambushing the governor, and in this light, you said it has to do with the legislature, the army-led House of Assembly attempting to impeach the governor. Now, the Constitution says that a governor can be impeached by the House of Assembly. And what's the ground for the impeachment? Gross misconduct. And what does the Constitution call gross misconduct? The Constitution clearly says that what the House of Assembly determines as gross misconduct is what gross misconduct is. So if the governors laughed too much, maybe laughed loudly, and the House of Assembly goes to bed and wake up and say, this laugh is not in line with governance, and it's gross misconduct.
I'm happy that example you are giving.
No, but that's a fact. That's a fact. The Constitution allows and empowers the State House of Assembly to impeach the governor on that ground. It is now left for the governor to challenge that impeachment. Do you understand? So when you say they want to ambush the governor, I mean, they are only exercising their powers according to the Nigerian Constitution. So it's nothing new. So using that word ambush, I mean, is it fair in this context? But you can go on.
Choma, I won't want us to go back.
You can go on.
I won't want us to go back to that dark experience in the history of our democracy. If I go back to begin to explain the processes, the actions that were carried out.
There was no ambush.
The actions that were carried out. But let's not go back to those experiences. There are horrible experiences in the psyche. There are horrible experiences in the psyche of Rivers people.
Right.
So I don't want to go back there. But going forward, answering your question, the governor is totally correct. And the deputy governor, what they have said is actually true. That God actually took over the battles of the governor. Not just the governor. The governor shouldn't see it as just for himself. The governor took over Rivers State. Because in the last 8 years, Rivers State, I don't want to, you come in,
yes,
if I say something.
The battles, not the previous.
Yes.
We're not talking about the previous years. We're talking about Rivers State now. Under governor.
Yes, so it is true that God has actually intervened. And what I will now say is that I'm happy that the governor recognized the fact that God is involved in the governance of Rivers State and giving him that backing and that that strength to carry on. He should also take advantage of God's grace upon his life as governor of Rivers State. He should take advantage by, I like the word he used, Rivers First Matrix. That is the dream. If the governor used that and take that as his focus in the next 3 years we are looking forward to, then he will be able to provide governance and show, because at the end of the day, I believe he will return the glory to God. So he should do things to Rivers people that will make Rivers people to thank God that God actually intervened in Rivers State and also took over the battles of the governor.
All right, Zoe. Now, very quickly before Mr. Gochukwu will have his say, you know, the governor appears to be making contradictory statements. You know, going by the governor's statement that there is no crisis in Rivers State. I am surprised that Rivers State was actually a battleground. Wouldn't you agree with me? That, I mean, there was a battle and God won, according to the deputy governor. When the governor, on one hand, said there is no crisis in the state. So if we are to go by the first statement of the governor, that there were no crisis in the state. Now, isn't it discombobulating, you know, for the governor, the same governor, to say God has removed obstacles? And then, in another statement, also said that it was a fight, it was an existential crisis. You know, so the governor will say one thing on the other hand, and the other one will bandy another word, which leaves the Rivers people, you know, kind of confused. Then that's on one hand. And then, you know, moving forward, you know, also says Rivers first. I want us to look at, you know, I want you to explain that mantra that the governor just came up with. Would you agree that so far it has been Rivers State first in all the things that has happened? Because he said a few weeks ago, I mean, last week precisely, during the flag offs and commissioning in celebration of his 1 year in office, he said he has only been 4 months in office, that he assumed governance 4 months ago. So, but last time we checked, he's celebrating 1 year in office. So where has Rivers First been all this while? In all the power tussle back and forth, the Rivers people were not considered, governance was not taking place, and suddenly, you know, the governor is coming up to tell us he started governance 4 months ago and now telling us Rivers First. What happened to the 5 billion naira palliative, Rivers First, meant for Rivers people? No, hold on. The FAC allocations for the past 8 months that he has not, according to him, assumed office. What happened to all that money that has to go for the Rivers people, for the development of Rivers people? Mr. Zoe, can you marry the statement of the governor, you know, the mantra, the new mantra, Rivers First, with how the governor has governed so far?
Well, I will tell you that the governor has not in any way, in all his statements, contradicted himself.
All right.
He hasn't. See, governance has a lot. It's until you sit on that chair, that is when you know what is involved.
But the governor said he has a red pen last year.
I'm coming. So when, as event unfolds, the governor makes statements based on how event unfold. He is the one who is seeing it. So if the governor comes out today and said there is no crisis, to some extent, he wants to encourage Rivers people. not to focus on those, distracting challenges, okay? Encouraging them that Rivers State is at peace. So we should rather look at peace. So it depends on the circumstances on ground when the governor speaks. For example, the last time we talked about when the governor used some foul languages like foul nyash don't open, those are situational and circumstantial statements, okay, at that material time. So the governor can always make statements based on the prevailing situation. And that's how leadership goes, situational leadership.
Are you aware, Mr. Zoe, that leadership trumps excuses? So when a leader whose statement can make or mar the peace of a state, whose statements or actions and inactions or even body language can hit up the polity or douse the tension, comes out to make conflicting statements, you're telling me it is situational leadership.
Choma, you're the one that is looking at it.
It's okay on Monday to say this is yellow and on Tuesday you call it green. Isn't that inconsistent?
No. See, you are the one that is looking at it from this perspective.
I am not the one that is looking at it from any perspective.
Rivers people have not complained. See, the governor, when you talk about...
For yourself, right?
No, I'm not speaking for myself. I'm a Rivers person. See, the governor have not in any way contradicted or been inconsistent in his action. I am watching the governor very closely. Well. Remember, I am the president of Rivers Emancipation Movement. And that's why we align with the governor. I'm very happy that he has come up with this statement, Rivers first. Because it is because of the interest of Rivers people that the Rivers Emancipation Movement align with the governor, because he has the interest of Rivers people at heart. So when he said this is the time he's actually taking up governance, we Rivers people understand what he's saying. You understand? Because of the influence that the former governor was having over him in terms of the governance of the state. Are you aware that in this state there was a time the governor cannot sign anything that is beyond so amount of money? Okay, you're not aware. It's in the public domain. It's in the public domain.
No, it is as far as I am concerned, on this show of national television, what you just spoke is unsubstantiated. It is mere speculation. And the governor in his statement has also annulled what you just said now. The governor that you're saying that cannot sign anything, Mr. Zoe, if you recall, last year, came out to tell them he did not claim. He told Rivers people that the red pen is in his hands.
With him, yes.
And he takes decisions as the governor.
Yes.
That red pen is symbolic of the ability to sign. That red pen is symbolic of executive decision. That red pen is symbolic of executive order. So when you come on my show, on national television, and you make speculations like this, I'll call you to order. But however...
No, please let me add. To the extent that we Rivers people have understanding of the prevailing situation in Rivers State. The governor has not contradicted himself. The governor has been consistent as far as the leadership and governance of Rivers State is concerned.
Fair enough, and I respect that. But then, Mr. Gochukwu, you have your say, but very, very quickly, when Mr. Zoe was speaking, he also mentioned that he is a Rivers man and he's speaking for Rivers people. Now, Mr. Gochukwu, you are in Rivers State, your taxes are in this state, and you have also contributed your quota to the growth of Rivers people and Rivers State as well. You have a stake in this, you're a stakeholder. May I know what your opinion is in all this statement going on? What do you have to say?
First of all, I want to start this way, that when we come on a national television, we don't play to the gallery. We are not objective. We try as much as possible to be subjective to our inputs, because we are here to educate the public. I'm not representing any person's interest. I'm not a card-carrying member of any political party. I am, by the virtue of who I am, a political analyst, an opinion molder who looks critically into the happenings and try to be subjective, try to hold my own thoughts according to what I see on the ground. That said, sitting here is to educate the public. Nigerians that are not in River State presently, and those who get who are being fed by all kinds of news and feedbacks as what the situation in River State is. We are here to, to give them the rightful information, to educate them and tell them exactly how it is. We are not playing to the gallery, and we don't represent anybody's interest. So when I want to start from the governor being ambushed, as alleged by Mr. Zoe, I think the process that could have culminated to the impeachment of Governor Siminalayi Fubara was just the beginning of the process, because Edison here, you recall, the de facto and now resigned Speaker of River State Assembly was the leader of the House. And if the impeachment of the governor would have been an ambush, as he alleged, it would have been done in the secret confines of those 27 lawmakers. But Edison here, being the leader of the House, was also present, and he was to call for the motion. He was to move the motion for the impeachment of the governor. And when because the majority were already in agreement for the process to be served on the governor, and Edison here refused to align with his colleagues, and immediately, through the due process and the laws governing the River State House of Assembly as it is, he was suspended with other 4 lawmakers. Through the due process, this should be taken into account. Through the process of the House, was duly suspended, and that suspension has not been vacated, and it has not been recalled. We also take it to the National Assembly, where Senator Ningi was duly suspended for 3 months from the Senate, and you hear that Abba Moro made a case for him, and it has been recalled. That is how recalling of a suspended member of the House, according to the rules governing the House of Assembly or the Senate, as the case may be, is concerned. And as far as we know in River State, the suspension of those 4, lawmakers has not been vacated. So whatever that the other group is doing is shrouded in illegality, and is not known to the law of that particular assembly. So there was no ambush because that was the first process of the beginning of the impeachment of the governor. You can't impeach a governor by fiat. After all, after that resolution, they would have taken the matter to the Attorney General and the Commissioner for Justice in River State, and the notice will be served on the governor, and the process will begin. So I don't see anything that somebody will come on a national television or speculate that there was an ambush. So going to what the governor, his statements recently has been very confusing, have been very contradicting, and he has continued to shortchange himself. We know that leadership is by the virtue of standing by what you speak, what you believe in, and what you are doing. In one breath, the governor we call former River State Governor and the FCT Minister, Chief Barrister Ezenwoye Sonwike, his Oga. And in another breath, he's now bringing up God as his Oga. Because what we have heard is that he's my Oga, that there is no issue in River State, there is no crisis, and there's a father-son dispute that will be resolved. In another breath now, God has fought his battle. It has snowballed from crisis, from kitchen to bedroom to sitting room crisis, and now is snowballed into a battle. The handlers of the governor, I always say, are not being charitable to him, are not doing the needful. in order to guide him and let him know that whatever he says is in the public purview. You know, the governor coming to say, God, I'm going back to what Senator Dixon said. Senator Dixon said, do not forget the human machinery that brought you to power. And as always posit, my assertion has been God has made the world, giving it over to man, and through the instrumentality of man. And that man, he says, the one years on weekend, and the other Rivers people who came together and said that Fubara is qualified, and he was positioned and given to Rivers people to become their governor, you know. And now he is saying that God, you know, forgetting the instrumentality through which God works. God does not work in a vacuum. You know, Fubara would have not been a governor in the vacuum. He would have not come from nowhere. He has no political alignment in Rivers State, or not even a PDP member. It was all the things that happened that accumulated towards his emergence as the flag bearer of PDP. We are in the state, we are on ground. We saw everything, and even the FCT minister now, you know, made a lot of enemies for himself in order to position Fubara where he is. Fubara did not remember God then. He did not remember the existence of God. He was just following Nyesom Wike sheepishly, as the case may be, because it is only when a deal goes sour that the outsiders begin to hear it.
When you say he was following the ex-governor, current FCT minister, sheepishly,
yes,
that's a
derogatory. No,
hold on.
See, that is what it seemed to be.
He is His Excellency, the governor of Rivers State. You cannot say that the governor.
He was not governor then. Remember, I'm still analyzing.
Regardless, but you are analyzing the person of the governor. So I would rather you don't use such statements like saying he was following the
maybe in our local parlance. You know that when my colleague was saying, he said that governor used some unprintable languages for media or the media space. He said the governor was the person who used also our local parlance.
That doesn't mean...
No. He used our local parlance in qualifying something. You quoted the governor.
I was referring
to the governor.
No,
you said the governor said... See what you said. You said that the governor made statement that in the process of what is happening in Rivers State, according to the sequential happenings of what is happening in Rivers State, that yes, that breeze don't blow, far on yash don't open. That was a statement here. And you quoted
she raised that
but you quoted it was your word that I'm using that you said.
These are the governors. If she raised it as a governor's word, and I said, going by those statements,
these are our local balance.
If he has made those
these are our local balance, I can as well speak pidgin in our show.
You can the local balance in the first place. Let me clarify something. He did not bring up that statement in support of the governor, and we had discussed that statement before on this show. And Mr. Zoe condemned it in totality. And he said it was uncharitable for a governor to say that. So he has never said that in support of the governor. And you quoted him.
Be that however, as it may, these are the circumstances and situations.
That is what I said. That is what I said. That makes such statement. It was also the circumstances of then that made me, you know, to toe that type of line. The circumstances of the time.
The governor who was former chief accountant general of the state.
You cannot say the governor when he was a flag bearer or a Guba aspirant or candidate followed someone sheepishly. He is the current governor. You can use statements or words that are more acceptable. That's a very offensive statement.
So the governor of Rivers State, Siminalayi Fubara, you know, after his emergence as a flag bearer of PDP, we are all here in the state. We are following orders from the FCT minister. He was working and following according to the dictates, you know, accumulating into the election according to the plans, the campaign train, the structures that were put in ground by Nyesom Wike, and was saying he was, in short, the condition of the present governor then was that a situation where you make reference to the olden days Jewish tradition, where women are seen but are not heard. Where when you talk about Jesus Christ feeding the 4,000 and 5,000, they counted without counting women and children. That was the position and the situation the governor of Rivers State now found himself then. He was seen, but he was not heard.
Now,
I don't know if it is a better another, but that is what we are on ground. What I'm telling you, I said we are on ground.
On the
No, but no.
Then governor.
See,
remember,
Choma, allow me. Remember I have already said, no, it is not entitlement, because I have analyzed it. I have said that, look at how Fubara emerged. Fubara was not a known carry member of PDP. He was not known as one of the big names in the traditional River State politics. Mm-hmm. So when you stay and luck smiles on you, when you are there and somebody brings something for you on a platter, mm-hmm. you are at the mercy and dictates of the person. And now, look at what happened. I have also said here that it is only when a deal goes sour that you begin to hear the noise. But when the going was good, when it started from the kitchen, the romance from the kitchen, in the bedroom and in the sitting room, and now when the present governor feels that I have arrived, when he now realized suddenly that he has the red pen, when he suddenly realized, like what Zoe said here, that the governor was made to not sign above this, Choma, you also have to take those things into cognizance. When he's making statements, I pick them. So you also pick them and punch them, because he said that, he alluded here that there was a time governor was gagged.
Was that not addressed?
He was addressed, but it was addressed, but I said he made it. He made that statement because he also said he's coming. He has made his representation and where his allegiance is very clear. He told you he was at the fun fair or the whatever that happened on Saturday or wherever. That he attended as a president. He moved.
Yes, for the interest of
and he said he's aligning with the Rivers First mantra of the governor. That he has taken his position. Me, I don't have a position. I have not made any position. I'm telling you what has happened towards what that happened before, during and after the election, and up till now that Governor Fubara is on seat. That is what I'm analyzing. That is what I am saying. I have not said anything that didn't. So I was not seated.
Taking all these foundations.
No. Hold on. You had your say.
Okay.
He did not interject or interrupt you.
It is what he has said that I am bringing out. I started from what he said about ambushing. I also started from what he now said, the governor now, remembering God at the middle of the sea. But you know that God was not there from the beginning. That is what you analyze in the statement of the governor. He put out the statement. I'm not his script writer. So it is also what he said, that Wike is my Oga, and that is a father-son relationship and problems that will be sorted out. And suddenly, and somebody also who came on a solidarity visit, Dixon, with the elders from Delta State, came here and said, do not forget the human, because there were some statements he made that day. The man, as a politician, the problem with the governor is that he's not a politician. This is not civil service. We are not into civil service and administration and carrying file and keeping file here. We are not here. From what the deputy governor has said, I will come there. We are not. It's not about morality here. It's about politics. It's about the law. What has the law clearly said in what is happening in Rivers State? That is what we are saying. We are not talking about morality. We are not talking about whether you know God. You are whatever you worship. If the rain that fell in Rivers State since 4 a.m. fell both on the roof of the sinner and the righteous man. So when you come on politics in an issue that concerns politicking, the governor is the governor. Whether he likes it or not, he has stepped into the murky waters and the rough waters of politics. It has to be he who fears the kitchen, who fears the heat, should not near the kitchen. He has stepped into the murky waters of politics. He should brace up to play it as it is. He's not bringing morality. You know, it is Kamas. I always posit here. We thank goodness today is a Sunday. Kamas always have said that religion, those high and mighty, those who find themselves in the echelon of leadership, has always used religion to subjugate the people and confuse them. Why? The governor has seen now that he has failed in 1 year in office. There was nothing to celebrate. And I'm not marking his scorecard because he, as a student who attended the lecture, I'm in River State. River State is his university environment. And he has gone to school for 1 year. It is for him to take the semester exam, and the governor did not attend the exams. Therefore, there is no script for me to score him.
Exams, what do you mean?
No, he has not. He has not achieved the things that he commissioned. We are pet project and the brainchild of the former governor. We give him the credit of the continuum in governance. But where I will begin to score the governor is from his second term, being from this month or from the 30th of May to the 29th of May 2025. I will begin to see what he has done, what is on ground, and the Rivers people first. For Rivers people first, what I see is people are being mobilized. Today is the mother of all Thanksgivings. People are mobilized from the 27 local governments, from the 27 local governments and the wards of River State. People are being mobilized to go for Thanksgiving, and that is the dividends of democracy we are seeing in River State.
All right.
So, coming to what the deputy governor said, the Odo, I just laugh at it because Odo the deputy governor, Professor Mrs. Odo, has suddenly realized that God fights battles. But when all these things were going on, she was in her cocoons. She was there as if she was not in River State. But suddenly, God is now fighting a battle. That battle God is fighting, he's fighting against who? And what brought about the battle? Is there now any battle in River State? For me, there is no battle. What we know is that it is the law that will take preeminence at the end of the day. Whether all these shenanigans, all this fighting battle we are talking about, is it not the illegally constituted Okojombo-led, what do you call it, House of Assembly? All the litigations, the battle, if there is a battle now in River State, it has not started. Let somebody not come tomorrow and say that people are already don't want him to govern. Choma, listen, that people don't want him to govern, that his governance is being slowed down because now obstacles are removed. But the governor was quick to make this statement, knowing that there are litigations scattered all over the courts that cannot be determined. Is the determination and the final adjudication of these laws in their interpretation that will tell the governor whether he has surmounted the battle or not. Right. But for me, as the governor has declared his battle free, the battle is still beginning.
I think we should clear some. He has said a lot of things, but let's just clear some points. First, he said this is politics. It has nothing to do with morality. I disagree on that. Because being a political student, the first concepts we were taught, foundational concepts of politics.
Classroom.
Yes, basically.
Classroom.
Classroom, but it's not in there. But I said the murky waters of politics. The murky waters.
Number one, what is good? What is just? What is right? And what is moral? These are the defining concepts that makes man a political animal, different from other animals, that he is able to organize himself in a society and live the gregarious life. Okay, so saying that morality should be taken out of...
You just gave us a classroom theory.
I will still come to that.
In real life situation.
Why can't
no, even the real life situation, I will do that.
Doctors can apply what they study in the classroom to take care of their patients in the hospital. Why can't those who are playing politics take the knowledge of politics and practice it? And that is where we are having problem, because people are not ready to play politics according to the rules of the game. Are you getting me? That's on one side.
What is
on the other side, the rules of the games.
What are the rules of the game?
The rules of the games are defined in terms of what is moral, in terms of what is right, in terms of what is just, and in terms of what is good for the larger number of society, which are according to the law, which what we refer to as, rule of law.
Morality stops?
Yes, that's where the law. Exactly.
So
I agree with you,
how do you marry that?
but there is no way you can throw away morality.
Well, you said
if we throw away morality in politics, I wonder what society will become. Because morality helps to define the conscience.
Can you tell me one state or one country, apart from Nigeria?
Yes.
One state, one country, any type of governance, from military rule down to monarchy, democracy, any type of government.
Whatever it is.
All these things.
Whatever it is.
Classroom.
Yes, but they are a checking factor. They are what we use.
But how applicable are they?
They are used to check, but that's one. Secondly, he talked about Wike being the god that brought Fubara, that this structure, that had enemy for himself, all sort of things that he mentioned ascribed to the Wike, as if Wike is a god now in Rivers State. But the question simply is, how did Wike came to power? That's another thing.
He didn't say that Wike is a god.
Okay.
No, he ascribed all those. No. See, no, you have to allow me to speak.
He quoted you out of context, Mr. Zulu.
I am not quoting him. He said, no, he asked a question. He said, he asked a question. Choma, he asked a question. He said, Fubara is just remembering now. I'm coming.
You said no. You quoted him he quoted you out of context when he was speaking. I called him to order. Now, you're doing the same. And when he did that, you were agitated.
I have not landed.
No.
I have not landed.
Before you land, like I did to him, before you land, I will need to, straighten that. He never said or never painted Wike to be a god in River State.
Okay.
What he said was to describe the structure that brought the governor into power.
Okay. And he added his statements.
Hold on. And he said that when Siriake came to River State together with some of the Ijaw elders to pay a visit to the governor, he reminded him, you recall in that meeting, the governor made a lot of strong statements, you recall. And then Siriake, when talking to the governor, admonished him and said, remember the human machinery that brought you into power. And that's when he was building his background. He built his background based on what Siriake said, and now tried to explain the extent that the FCT minister went and tried to actually build on that foundation that Wike was a human machinery that brought Fubara into power. There is a difference between being a human machinery and being a god.
And he had
so please.
I'm coming. And he added.
Don't put him out of context.
No, I'm not quoting it. He added that Fubara now realized that there is a god. He didn't remember. He even mentioned the deputy. That they did not remember when Wike was taking all these actions. That there is a God.
Of course.
So that is almost comparing
there
Wike.
Is a political.
There's a political God.
There was God in politics.
Admitted. Let's take it. Admitted. Let's admit your statement. What brought Wike to power?
We are not discussing Wike. We are quoting. We are discussing what the statement of the governor.
There is a precedent.
You can't bring the precedent of how Wike came to power here. You can't. You can't go there. You are. If you don't have anything. See,
we watched a video clip where Wike invited the former first lady, patient Jonathan. I'm coming to his house, and then she handed him over.
Mr. Zoe, when you go towards, you're dragging us back. actually, because when you start talking about how the FCT minister became the governor of Rivers State, invariably this conversation will go to how the former minister of transport
also won his case.
Yes.
Became a governor.
Okay.
Yes, and from there, I will go to Odili.
Yes.
Also bring in Celeste.
Yes.
These are not necessary.
No.
So
as far as this, the issues he has raised,
you can actually make your point.
Yes. No. Without mentioning. No, okay. We are looking at precedent, which is very important. If we must understand the precedent,
that precedent is unnecessary. It is not in this context.
The role Wike has played.
It is not in this context.
If we must understand the role Wike has played, we must take into cognizance the role other people has played for him to get to where he is.
Okay.
And that is what I am saying.
Let me admit that.
The former first lady, the political class, they came together and created the same structure. There was a structure, what they call, during Odele's time, there was a structure, now I can't remember the name, that brought
the
same structure, yes.
That's what I'm saying.
For the former minister. So when he's saying that Wike has a structure, when he's saying that Wike brought somebody in, when he's saying that Wike made enemy, the former first lady also made enemies. The former first lady also created structures. The former first lady also did a lot of things that brought him to power. But this is one thing my colleague here should understand. In the midst of this is what he should understand.
We were all in Rivers State. You see why I said I didn't want us to go all the way back.
But if we don't go back to history, we may not appreciate what is in the current.
I will not let you turn the history upside down, because you just did. When you say the former first lady made enemies, already there was an issue on ground.
Yes.
The former first lady, and I know when you're talking of enemies, you're referring to the then Governor Amechi.
Okay.
Already, the then Governor Amechi already had fallen out with the former first lady and the same
thing that happened in the last election. There were issues on ground. The governor has already fallen out with his party hierarchy.
Don't interject. I need to correct that history you turned upside down right now.
Okay.
That issue was already existing before the campaigns started. The then Governor Amechi already had issues with the then President Goodluck Jonathan and the former First Lady, Patience Jonathan. So the First Lady at that time, Patience Jonathan, did not make enemies on account
of bringing Wike.
On Wike at that time.
Of course.
You see, so the scenarios are not entirely
No.
Choma,
That's why
I said.
No.
Mr. Zoe, hold on.
No, you are taking me out of context.
Let us know.
Let me explain myself.
That's why I said.
Can I explain myself?
Can we build on this conversation?
No, can I explain myself? You are taking me out of context.
You see why she said don't go there, because we will dwell here today.
It is not just If you allow me express myself, you will appreciate the point I'm making better. It is not just Wike. No. It is not just Amechi. It is not just the issue between Amechi and the president and the former first lady. Remember, there was also the issue of Wike coming from the same place the outgoing governor then was coming from. That issue was also there. So the former first lady did not just make enemies with the person of Amechi, then governor. Also, the lot of things that the governorship should move to another zone. All these things were there, but going forward,
right.
I want to put it to my colleague here.
Yes,
that the mistake is making here is that there is a difference between the personalities of Nyesom Wike and Fubara as God's son and Godfather. Whatever relationship they have, in whatever context, it is quite different from the office of the governor. The office of the governor has to do with the people. So whatever arrangement, whatever parley these two personalities have, that is why I keep saying that Fubara should be able to settle whatever thing it is, okay, with his godfather. That is why I also said, Wike, whatever it is, like all he has said, if Wike invested this much in this man, what is it that within less than 6 months or 5 months, you can't put up with this person, that you have invested this much, that you can't carry on with him again? These are things they should settle as personals, as son and father as they claim, God or God or whatever as they claim. But when it comes to the office of the governor, whatever arrangement they do, whatever agreement they have that is not constitutional, that is not for the interests of Rivers people, shouldn't stand the test of time. And that is why I agree and concur with the governor, Rivers first matter.
Now,
this is why it is important.
You have beautifully, I so love how you put this, you have beautifully stated your point. And I agree with you, Mr. Zoe, interestingly. Now, yes, I do.
But that's the truth.
Yes, that's the truth. Because you just said that the office of the governor is for the people.
Yes, and not for any individuals to have arrangement with it.
Perfect. I'm in alignment with this conversation. But then, I will also ask, now the office of the governor is for the people. Has Rivers people enjoyed governance? I asked you. You know, the governor said he started his administration 4 months ago. Now, within the past 8 months, he received 5 billion naira palliative from the federal government. Rivers people are yet to see how that money was used. And at that time, according to him, he was not the governor. In all these 8 months, he has been receiving increased FAC allocation. The governor also said that, under him, he had to rejig the IGR because there was need for more money. So in his wisdom, and I applaud him for that, genuinely, he had to rejig and, they thought outside the box and, increase the FAC allocation by a whooping 13 billion naira. That's a lot of money coming into Rivers State on a monthly basis. So when you bring in all these allocations that he has been receiving in the past 8 months, that he was not governor, according to him, that he was not governing, you would agree with me that in those 8 months, he was sitting on the mandate of the Rivers people. As against whatever political arrangements anybody had. Rivers people don't care about that. Now the question is, like you have rightly said, he is the governor of the people. And he has come out to tell us last year, when the Peace Pact issue broke out and, the Rivers people were disillusioned by that action, he came out and told every single Rivers people not to worry, that he remains the governor and the red pen in his hands. Which means by that statement, whatever it is that is going on will not deter governance. Like you rightly said.
See,
the governor for the people. Why, or let me rephrase it, would you say, with all the allocations coming into Rivers State currently, since he assumed office, the governance of the ground, is it commensurate? Would you say there is governance going on in Rivers State?
Okay, see, it's very important when we are analyzing these issues. Let's try as much as we can not to take the governor out of context because of his words. It's very important we understand the context with which the governor is making statements. When the governor said, I started governing 4 months ago, when the governor said, I was not in charge, we understand this thing. We're all in Rivers State. My colleague, I believe here, will agree with me.
I don't agree with you.
That the governor
don't indict me.
You remember, the Peace Pact tells it all. The Peace Pact tells it all. How come, if the governor was in charge, there was a situation that led to a Peace Pact in Abuja, in a federating unit, where the governor is supposed to be in charge of the state? They went to Abuja, and there was an 8-point agenda given to the governor to sign. All these things prove to the point that the governor was challenged. So when the governor said he wasn't in charge, we should understand it in the context and situation he was making this comment. However, it is too early, okay, to begin to adjudge the governor whether he has done something commensurate with what has been given to him. No, I'm coming. I'm coming. We should give the governor time. See, governance.
When you say time, what do you mean?
We are still watching. He's still carrying out. Yes, he's still carrying out action. Yes, he's still 1 year. Considering what has happened in the last 6 months or so, the political tumor, the challenges, the confrontation, the House of Assembly issues,
did it stop
all these things affect governance.
Did it stop the
be that as it may, We will look at the governor when the time comes. When the time comes, I am not in government. I am not the governor.
Well, you said you are lying. You said you're watching the government.
Yes, yes.
And your group, which you have
yes,
you said you are well into this government. So you cannot tell me.
To the extent. No. Let's put it. To the extent that the government is for Rivers people.
I find it interesting, Mr. Zoe.
Yes.
I find it interesting that you speak so authoritatively about the governor's intentions. You speak so authoritatively about.
To the extent that is for Rivers' interest. To the extent that is for Rivers' interest.
The same thing, Mr. Zoe. I find it interesting. You know, you've made very beautiful defense, and I do not disagree with you. However, when you are saying for the Rivers' interest, the 5 billion naira is for the Rivers' interest, the internally generated revenue is from Rivers people. It is from taxes from me and you, and every other Rivers person. You know, it is. Hold on, Mr. Zoe. The FAC allocation that comes into Rivers State monthly, with or without the crisis going on, it does not stop the federal government from giving Rivers State what is due Rivers State.
You want to know what those monies are being used for?
Hold on.
You want to know what those monies are being used for?
Don't put words in my mouth.
Okay.
Now, I find it very interesting that you're well aware of the political situation. You're well aware of, you know, everything that has been going on in politics, and you said yourself that you align and you're critically monitoring the governance of the state.
Yes.
But when it comes to what has been put on ground for people that you are speaking for, you don't know.
No, I didn't say I don't know. I don't want. You want me to give you? I see. We are doing something. I'm coming now. We are giving the governor time. But if you must know what these monies have been used for, in spite of the challenges, I'm happy that my colleague here agreed to the fact that the governor, went into continuity in terms of this thing. Now, remember,
paid 70%.
And you are saying that, have you heard what the governor said recently? That contractors are coming back for their monies that were claimed. Besides that, the governor has released billions of naira for investment for microeconomic businesses.
I agree with you. However, when it comes to that statement by the governor, that contractors are coming, it is very speculative, regardless of.
When the governor is saying something is speculative.
I will say why.
When the governor says something is speculative.
Mr. Zoe, I'm a journalist.
Okay.
My job is to ask questions without taking sides and to educate people and inform people as well.
Okay.
When the governor first made that statement, there was an evidence. I think that was when he was flagging off Old Bori Road or so. There was an evidence that backed up that first statement he made, because a letter was released, written by a contractor to the governor.
Thank you.
You know, and asking for the balance of a job done. And the amount was clearly stated in that letter. Okay? So now, coming up much later to tell us that 13 local governments, contracts, about 34 contracts, spread across 13 local governments, that the former government was owing to so and so tune. Just like the governor and the office of the governor was able to prove that first statement by releasing or publishing the letter of that contractor meant for the governor. At this point, Rivers people, particularly people in the media, would ask that in the same vein and the same energy that first letter was published, the other letters of these other contractors demanding for their payment should be published as well. That's the right thing to do. For the sake of transparency, because the governor said he's a very transparent person and very accountable, and I agree with him so far, right? So for the sake of transparency, these letters should be published. So pending when these letters are published, I will only speak on one that can be substantiated.
See, yes, I agree you're a journalist, but I think there is also what they call developmental journalism. That part will be good.
There is also something called
investigative journalism. Yes, that is your responsibility. If you ask for those facts, you will get them using investigative journalism. But I would prefer developmental journalism in the sense that for the interest of our society and our democracy, we should be able to be progressive in our way and the way we look at issues. Now, let me tell you.
So, hold on. When you talk about the government developmental,
yes.
What exactly do you mean?
We are talking about looking at what the government is doing and trying to see how they can improve on it rather than bringing them down. That's the point I'm making in developmental journalism. But taking
what is being brought down now?
I'm coming. Let's take it this way. Let me give you some figures.
I am asking core questions.
We in REM, we are giving the governor time. That's why I don't want to release
you're speaking for a microcosm. Hold on.
I agree
your
with
group
you. That
is only a microcosm
that carries the interest
of Rivers State.
Carry the interest of Rivers people
in the grand scheme of things.
Across the 23 LGA.
In the grand scheme
but let me also speak as a Rivers person. Let me also speak as a Rivers person. Now, look, the governor with all those money you are asking for. Remember, they are there in the public. The governor has been paying projects, has been releasing money for projects here and there. He has released about 4 billion naira for microfinance, this thing where the SMEs are taking money. So all this money have been put. The governor always comes out to tell us
that 4 billion naira you just talked about was just on the on the heels. No.
Choma, if you allow me,
I asked about the 5 billion naira palliative.
They
the
can
4
be.
billion naira you talked about.
I am not the governor to know which and where he channels money. Yes, but because of the project, he has been, initiating, continuing, and finishing. 30%. And you see the money that are going into there. The governor has always announced. That's their responsibility to do investigative journalism. You get the information? But as far as I'm concerned, we should give this governor time to do what, like he has said. He has said that he is taking him from the 30th of May. Yes, watch from the 30th of May. If the other camp do not ambush the governor by 29th of May next year, by 29th of May next year, see the report card of this governor. If you will not smile, being seeing him as a governor in Rivers State.
I find it interesting that you say that for the past 1 year, the governor still needs time.
Of course, it's a 4 years thing, but it's working.
However,
you are seeing him commission projects upon projects.
Commissioning projects that he did not, are you aware he didn't flag off this project?
Yes, there are the ones he flagged off, there are the ones he's continuing. And see, Choma, let's not underplay governance. That the past governor, I will always take you that the past governor came, he abandoned every project from his predecessor, and those projects are lingering everywhere, abandoned. Money wasted, but this governor came and said no, continuity. He is trying to complete this project. We should give him credit for that. We should encourage somebody when the person is doing what is right.
Well said, but you just deflected. In the 1 year anniversary of the governor celebrated 1 year anniversary with
commissioning of projects.
Don't interject. He commissioned 6 projects. These were projects he completed and flagged off only 4. And when you look at what has been commissioned, how much it has cost, including the 4 billion naira
SME grant
that is not even up to monthly IGR in Rivers State right now is 27 billion. Are you aware of that?
Choma,
hold on. You've had your say. When you look at all these things, FAC allocation have not even gone there. And in 1 year, it's not clear concrete things that has been done. And when you keep referring,
if it is not clear to you, if it is not clear to you what the governor has been able to put on ground in the last 1 year with the resources available, then you need to do more work. That is not the responsibility of the governor or myself.
Mr. Zoe, when you deflected back to the FCT minister, like I will remind every other person, I will remind you, I'm not making a case for him. However, it's fair that you put it on ground and on record, that when he came into governance, he came out to say he did not have, there were no monies in the treasury. He said that. And he assumed governance without monies. And years down the line, had something to show for it. The governor has come out only to say, I have inherited so and so liabilities. We will need him in the same energy to also tell us the assets he has inherited.
The former governor, did he also say that? The former governor, did he also say this is the amount I am leaving behind? Did he also say so?
Mr. Fine, over to you.
This is very interesting, and see, we don't come on national television and begin to puncture and say things we cannot substantiate and begin to, that's the problem of the governor. I think this problem is coming from his handlers and followers. You could see all the statements Mr. Zoe is making, and any other person that is coming on the side of the governor that I've met, they cannot solidly substantiate what the governor has done, and that is pitiable.
That is not true.
That is pitiable, because now
the way you see it.
You had a lot of things. You have a lot of statements that are not backed up. A lot of statements that you cannot even finish, conclusively, and trying to let the people that are watching and they were educating them to make reasonable. Get reasonable information out of it conclusively. Now, the governor has said 1 year in office. That is what it took him, is it 2 weeks to start celebrating, and the grand finale is today with the usual mobilization and the dividend of democracy that Rivers people get, mobilizing people for Thanksgiving. That is what we are only seeing in Rivers State. So, if you go back to what Mr. Zoe said, because I picked all the points that he has made, when you talk about law, morality, and all that, you find out that those things when you talk about law, you talk about right. And I was happy when you mentioned right, some things being right, when you talk about morality and law. Something that is, you are a lecturer by the virtue of your profession. Now you know that once you talk about anything that has to do with law, morality, and right, it's relative. You know that, sir. It's very relative. Because, when lawyers come, they parade themselves. Learned colleague, this and that. We also went to school. And you people taught us. And when you're teaching us, we are picking. It's relative. You cannot say that what happens to it. That is why we have been saying that no two cases are the same. Amehuleled lawmakers have defected, therefore they have lost their seat. Section 109G became the new national anthem in Nigeria. So, at the end of the day now, you see where it is taking us. Because it happened in Plateau State, it happened in Ondo State, this and that. No two cases are the same until the final litigation. And the reasons will prevail. That is why it has to go. If it is by fiat, or by precedence being set, the Amehuleled faction would have lost their seats. But today, they are still members of the House of Assembly by virtue of the litigations that are scattered all over the courts in Nigeria.
You mean they are still members of the Rivers State?
Of course, there are substantive cases, suits that are even president. No, that is, see, they are members because we have, forget about the conflicting judgment from coordinate jurisdiction.
When judgment favor your speaker,
it is not about speaking.
When it doesn't favor him, there is no.
I've told you here that I'm not, we look at matters the way they are on ground, subjectively. No, what I'm saying is that Justice Omotosho in Abuja of the Federal High Court, there is a substituting order of interlocutory that is still substituted and not been vacated. So whatever order orders that are coming from State High Court and all that, it cannot, override a judgment, a court order that has been given from the sister court of coordinate jurisdiction, and that is what it is.
Can I ask you a question?
No, you can't ask me a question. Okay, we are not on question and answer section.
Go ahead.
So now you find out that I use it to assert the way the people and the representation and the people that are talking about morality on the side of the government and the crisis that is going on in Rivers State are standing on. But this is pure politics, and politics is also relative. You brought the issue of Jonathan, wife of the former president, Jonathan, making Wike and all that. The same scenario that ensued now between Fubara and Wike didn't, personalities are not the same. Our IQs are not the same. The way you manage pressure is not the way another person manages pressure. Nobody heard about this crisis, if not for this impasse that is happening between the governor and the former governor now. Nobody knew what transpired between Jonathan's patient and Nyesom Wike, because it was properly managed. And everybody knew that politics is like that. That is why they say the feeble minds cannot come and play politics. Because politics in Nigeria, it is not the way it's played in the United States or in other place. So coming now to say that the governor should be given time, the governor should, that means you're on the same page with me, that the governor has no score sheet for us to score him. Because you said that the governor should be given time, that we should be looking, that he still has time. But let me remind the governor of Rivers State that he has lost 1 year already.
He's not
in a tenure of 4 years. And now the grounds that he has not hit running are still waiting for it to be watered. When you look back and look at the projects that the governor has done and the quantum of money that is that is domiciled in Rivers State now, because for the past eight months the governor did not work. That means our monies are somewhere. I received a palliative from the federal government. I have not received palliative from the state government of a 5 billion, and it cannot be accounted for till now. And you and I know that the cost of living in Rivers State is biting. The governor would channel that money and cushion the hardship that is happening in Rivers State. And as it is today, once it is the governance, remember that the governor ruled on the mantra of continuity and consolidation. But he had his own agenda, which is Rivers people first, which he did not bring out all this while. It is in the last month we started hearing Rivers people first, and it had become a mantra, according to the deputy governor, who has now made it official that is the mantra of Fubara. And the people of Rivers State, let us sample their opinion and see the people that have been affected directly or indirectly by the policies and the mantra for which the governor is claiming now that he came on seat. Rivers people first. So the governor, in his wisdom, has jettisoned the mantra that he went on campaign in the 27 local governments and some was in Rivers State to go and campaign and get to that seat and say that continuity and consolidation. He has jettisoned it without going on a campaign, without going to the House of Assembly and said, I'm changing the mantra, or without coming to tell the Rivers people that in 1 year, this is my scorecard, and it's embedded in the Rivers people first, and we will now look at it. And you now find out that the governor, in another breath, is also saying that his governance is centered on the people. That means the conflicting statements and the words of the governor has continued to reverberate around the political space in Rivers State. And that is why I have told the governor that you are not in competition with anybody. Nobody is there to, hoodwink you or to gag you to start, making statements that you have delivered. No. But for him to be, ascribing himself the things that he has not done, or the things that are still inherent in his mind that he's yet to turn out for us to see, that's in on the pipeline, he's doing himself a disservice. So, if I may use that language. But if the governor has gone about quietly, knowing that the ground is shaky, as far as the seat is occupying is concerned, he would have gone about quietly and let his projects and his output speak for him. But the governor, in wanting to assume and make sagacious and political statements that we now want to endear the people to him, I am not in line. I'm offering this advice for free. I'm not being paid for it. That the governor and his handlers should go about quietly and roll out the new mantra. He has told us now, Rivers people first, which we are going to, score him at the end of May 29th, 2025. We start scoring him. But the governor is putting his house in everything. And you agree with me, Mr. Zoe, that the governor has not even brought out and made known where he is heading to, where his governance is heading to. He's putting his hands in everything. You can't solve all the problems, Mr. Governor. Nyesom Wike came of all the criticisms he received. You abandoned the healthcare that Amechi touched. You abandoned the education sector that he told. But he had his work cut out for him. And he made his mark. You can agree to it. That even when they say civil service, judiciary is part of the civil service in his own constituency. And they will also score Fubara with his own constituency, that is the state civil service, what he will do for them that will speak for him at the end of the day. Wike has made his mark. Odele made his mark. And Amechi made his mark. Late Fubara, who has also said in one fora that what he has achieved in 1 year or in 4 months, as the case may be, has outweighed what Wike and other governors have done in 8 years. I mean, how do you overshoot your bounds and try to now overhype yourself? So the governor should tarry a while, should watch the ground, and also focus on the areas he knows that he can make his mark. And I've advised him severally that he should look into the agriculture. Look at the Songhai farm that I think the governor would have scored a high political point with.
Which was abandoned.
He should have by now, in 1 year, he should have done a turnaround mechanism that will be turning out employment and food sufficiency in Rivers State. And prioritizing, forget about all these.
You are aware that the reviving of that Songhai is in motion.
That is what I'm saying. But 1 year, but a lot of things have been put in place that have been revived. And for him to let the Rivers people first go into mechanized farming by importing tractors. Let him prioritize his area of focus and not, moving here and moving. At the end of the day, he might not achieve much.
Please, yes, let me summarize. Don't create the impression that those of us who are speaking on this other side were saying statements that cannot be substantiated. It's not true. I basically address the issue you raised, that we shouldn't throw away what is what is moral, what is right, what is just in politics. We shouldn't throw that away. I also said that when you're talking about the former governor making the present governor, that the former governor was also made by others too. Then I also let you know that, look, when it comes to personal interest between the governor and his predecessor, it's their personal business. But when it comes to the office of the governor, it's the interest of the people. And so the governor should pursue the interest of the people rather than whatever he has agreed on a personal note. But you should also understand, you mentioned it here, that politics is also relative. It's the same thing. Second, leadership is also situational. So the governor, as the situation comes, he takes on action. For example, the former governor, now Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, mentioned it at the PDP National Convention, where they met to do their primaries. He said it, that he was going to accept the outcome of that primaries and support whoever candidate that emerged. Did he do that? That is what politics is. So when you come about casting aspersion on the actions of the governor is doing in the circumstances, very difficult environment. Remember, the former governor does not have this kind of challenges. Everybody was able to put, like you said, he has the capacity, the energy. He was able to silence everybody and move on. This thing you're talking about, mechanized agriculture, the governor should be focused. It's not just about the governor. That's why we, the Rivers Emancipation Movement, have come. We all should come together, put our heads together and support this governor, and then begin to guide him with things that are important for Rivers people. Not to be fighting him at the same time expecting him to work for Rivers people. Be that as it may, the governor is doing his best. Right. The Tongai fire you talk about, the governor has revisited it, and work is in progress. Very soon you will hear at that part, the governor is trying his best, and we should give him time to do what he can do for Rivers people.
Mr. Zoe, before I move on to the next story, I will address what you said myself. Right. Now, when you say people are fighting the governor, particularly when you are faced in a conversation where someone is critically analyzing the governor from the angle of a critic, that is part of governance.
I agree with you.
And that's the beauty of democracy.
I agree with you.
And the beauty of democracy is what I am doing as well.
I agree with you.
Not taking sides and asking incisive questions.
I agree with you.
The thing here is, if it so hurts the government, they should do the right thing. And hold on, you had your say. So when, let me give an example. Mr. Gochku here was speaking and talked about how the predecessors, you know, they were able to prioritize certain sectors and make impact in them. Like it or not, when you mention the past governor, Amechi, in Rivers State,
health sector education,
you at least these two.
Yes.
You can't take it away. Nobody can take it away from.
Of course, which was
Amechi,
abandoned.
the Minister of Transport, that he did amazing in education,
health
he did
sector,
amazing
yes,
in health sectors across all local governments.
Yes.
Without neglecting any.
I agree with
right.
you.
When you talk about FCT minister, you cannot take away the fact that right now he took care of transportation. Even the internal routes, it is possible that you can drive from Aba Road, from Obibo, down to not even my one. From Obibo, you can take Aba Road down to Borokiri, or let me say down to Government House in 15-20 minutes if you're a fast driver. Because you just be flying over flyovers. Take it or leave it. You're where you are. But before 2 hours, you're yet to move from Obibo. In fact, moving from Obibo to Government House, the person moving from his house to Aba will get to Aba, eat and sleep and wake up. You're still en route to Government House from Obibo. That's a fact. And also the congested traffic. I am not even talking about other areas as well. But let's be factual about things. So when people come out and air their opinion, and even at that time, during that time, Wike was seriously critiqued. Governor Mechi that time was critiqued as well. We ask questions, I ask questions, I critiqued them. The need for that criticism is for governance to take place. So, like you said, it is not fighting the governor. It is part of democracy. It is the beauty of democracy. And it is actually part of governance. And that is what it should be.
Yes.
And that is why every politician, including you, you are talking against one-party system. The beauty of opposition.
Yes.
And opposing political parties.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So, moving on, it would be nice if you're more tolerant of people who are on the opposing side. They are not necessarily, I have to address that.
Yes.
They are not necessarily fighting the governor.
Yes, I agree with
from
you.
A different perspective.
I agree with you. His opinions
And you also
are quite
free consultation.
He shouldn't advise. He's a Rivers citizen. He should be in the system. Now, criticism, he shouldn't just advise. Yes, he shouldn't just advise. He should also be participatory. That's what I mean.
He is participating right now.
Yes.
Is he not participating
but
right now?
I will add that criticism.
Is he not participating in governance right now?
He is, by virtue of, yes, it is.
He's participating,
yes.
right?
And I will say criticism should come with objectivity.
So he's
and
not
then
objective
because
it doesn't go, it's not.
And the former governors you have assessed, you are assessing them after completing 8 years.
Mr.
You can't use that to assess somebody in 1 year.
I also spoke about the former governor who inherited empty treasury, according to him.
According to him, yes.
I have to make that clear.
I agree with
according
you.
to him. And what he did, even within 1 year, people could see what he did within 1 year.
Yeah, the bigger picture.
So there are things you can't take away.
The bigger picture.
No,
yes, I agree with you.
No,
when it comes to Amechi,
the same. Hold on.
I agree with you.
The same. In fact, there are states in Nigeria currently that are actually having issues with paying salaries because, according to them, their predecessors left huge debts, not empty treasury. They are not the same thing. Their predecessor left huge debts from them, and they are coming out to tell their citizens, the residents of the state, they cannot pay salaries as a result. So when you're talking about the FCT minister, because you kept bringing him up, he inherited not just debts, like every government will inherit debts, but he inherited, according to him, empty treasury. So there are things you cannot take away from a man to make a point.
Why we are not taking? No, let me add this.
Why we are not? No. The Lagos State chapter of the new Nigeria People's